It's really interesting for me talking about DMT because the part that's the most vivid for me to remember personally is that pre-breakthrough feeling. I can put myself there. I know what it feels like as the buzzing sound rises and rises with such fierce intensity. It sounds like a clamoring almost of voices all trying to be louder than the next. It sounds like these little chirps going, and then it just strikes right through this reality like a bolt of lightning, crackling across all dimensions, ripping you right through to the other side, and you just kind of plop through this crack in space-time continuum and end up in sometimes a gorgeous place. But you gotta let go to get to that gorgeous place. As those clamoring voices are heightening in pitch, frequency, and intensity, and they're just growing louder and louder and louder to the point where they're about to engulf everything that you know to be real. It can almost feel as though the universe is having sex with you. Now, sex is only sex if you consent to it. So when you fight letting go and the universe is trying to make love to your consciousness or your body, you can almost feel waves of euphoria attempting to penetrate you, but you're not quite sure if it's a painful feeling. You don't know if it feels cold and sharp or loving and warm. You really got to let it in. And when you resist the dick of the universe as it tries to fuck you, and trust me, that's what it feels like, whether you're male or female. There's this vibe of surrender. You feel like you're surrendering your body, mind, and even soul to the experience, and you're just letting it do whatever it wants to you. Now, when you fight that and you try to stop it from sticking its universal penis into you, well, it can feel like rape. Because, hey, might as well be rape if you're not open to the experience. However, yeah, what follows next is probably just what your consciousness cooks up as feeling like you were raped by entities. Because I felt as though there was these weird aliens made of light, and since I was pushing the experience away, they were all jumping into me, like one after the other, just leaping into my... One after the other. Holy shit, would you please screw off? Are you done yet? You're interrupting my video, dude. Whoever the hell you are, stop. One after the other just jumping inside me. And then jumping out. Like, they didn't stay. It's like that scene when Neo jumps into the agent and then he, like, explodes him. Only they weren't blowing me up. They were just jumping in. And I felt like I was taking on all these entities, and it really felt like they were raping my soul. Just picture wherever you are right now, looking across the room and seeing an alien. And next thing you know, that alien is calling you on the phone. Hello. Hi. I didn't even know you were coming. All right, guys, I'm aware that a lot of people out there probably aren't going to like me for this video, but the fact is there's really not a lot of people who speak about both the good and the bad sides to psychedelics. People like to say that these compounds can change your life, and everyone always hears that, and they take it as it can change your life for the better, but change your life doesn't always mean better. Sometimes things have to get harder, a lot harder, before they get better. And sometimes you need to be a certain type of optimistic, glass is always half full kind of person in order to embark on the journey or the path that these experiences can just whoosh, lay out for you. If you're not that kind of person, you might stray away from the growth and learning, and you might experience something traumatic. Psychedelics aren't predictable. It's the one thing that's actually different between them and, say, something like meth. When you smoke meth, For most people, they know that they're in line for feeling fucking fantastic. They're getting that rush of dopamine, that euphoria. It's spiking. It's hitting them hard. Can't help but smile. They're feeling mega social. They're jerking off like crazy. And yeah, that's meth. They can anticipate the effects. Psychedelics, on the other hand, they work in a way that we still don't fully understand, but we do know that they work with how we currently are feeling on a cellular level, on a neurochemical level, on a level that we aren't even consciously aware of all the time, and very minute details in our lives that we might not even consciously recognize can attribute to whether our psychedelic experience is going to be a positive, beautiful trip through a mystical forest of dreams or a battle through hell. Because of all these variables, and because people don't really know what they're going to get, psychedelics are far from a fucking joyous experience. They can be hell. And I'm here to share some of that hell with you. And I do have to warn you guys who are currently experiencing psychedelics, meaning if you're watching this video and you're high right now, you should probably click off it. To start things off, I'm going to explain to you some of the most common reasons why DMT can go the proverbial south, how it can go dark. And one of the reasons that most people don't end up actually having that infamous breakthrough, which is when DMT reaches the light, is because they get stuck on the darkness. On the way to the breakthrough, what can often happen for a lot of us is we relate the feelings that we're getting struck with as some kind of a real metaphor of death. Well, a lot of the time, we actually feel like we're dying. You actually feel like you cease to exist. It is a very, very serious feeling, which is the reason why most people back out before that final hit. And I would say the main reason why DMT becomes frightening is because of not letting go. And it's so easy to just say to let go. You have to keep in mind that when something convinces you that it's killing you, you go into this fight or flight mode, and we are not designed to just roll over and let a venomous snake bite us in the nutsack. We are designed to fight, to grab that mother bitch by the neck and toss him away. And if he's got 60 more friends coming, bring it on, man. We're going to punch each of those snakes right in the nose. When someone tells you that the only way through the fear when taking DMT is to let go, you have to understand that letting go is difficult. It's beyond difficult. It's against your fucking genetics. It's against your evolution. Letting go is going to be one of the most challenging things that you've ever done. You don't get that from meth, by the way. You smoke meth, you feel great. Don't fucking smoke meth, because then you'll never want to live again without meth, because you'll be introduced to this feeling that's better than anything you've ever experienced in your life. And now every time you experience anything from orgasming to being in love, you're going to be comparing it to that meth high, and it won't compete. There are some drugs that you shouldn't take because they feel too good, and meth is one of them. And there's some drugs that you shouldn't take unless you're absolutely ready for everything that it can fucking throw at you. And it can throw everything from a glass of water to the entire kitchen sink to the entire house to the entire universe at you. Well, that's DMT. I'm here to warn you before you embark on this journey so you know what to look out for. Not to scare you away from trying it. I understand if you're like me, then there's nothing that's going to scare you away. But for those of you who weren't like me, who stand to face perhaps irreversible damage from this experience, well, heed my words wisely. Listen to what I have to say in this video. And don't brush any of this off like lint on your shirt. Take this shit to heart. I'm going to try to strike a chord with you, and hopefully we're going to be playing the same melody by the end. Meaning, you need to know every facet, every possible outcome that can happen so that you can intelligently decide if this is something that you want to try. Now, you also have to keep in mind that everything I'm going to talk about is my own personal experience. And hey, maybe you'll disagree with me. Maybe there's some people out there who breaking through doesn't feel like dying. Maybe they found a way to convince their brain that it's beautiful, gorgeous, and they're just going to let it in. Well, I have had those trips, but usually it was with the addition of MDMA or some other drug that made me feel okay with letting go. MDMA can make everything in the world feel okay. It's kind of like a hack to the DMT breakthrough. Mind you, it's still freaky to break through even on MDMA. You still got to get that calling. Now, that's a calling that I can't touch on here. The calling is a different thing. If you have the calling, then you know what I'm talking about. Just know that everything I'm saying comes from my own personal experience, and your mileage will vary. Just with every drug. As I said, it works with your own unique neurochemistry, and we're all very, very different special snowflakes, even though when we're kids, we're told that we're not a special snowflake. So let's do a little recap of what we've talked about so far. A bad DMT trip can feel as though you're dying. Well, that's just kind of like a normal one, but let's include that. It can feel as though you are being raped by the universe or aliens, and it can also feel as though you're being possessed. Now, there's this feeling that happens as your sense of self trickles out, or as it's getting forcefully pushed out or taken over, as people who believe in possession like to believe. And I don't really think that you're necessarily getting possessed as much as it's just such an overpowering feeling. You feel as though there is something else, because it does feel like an entity, like it feels like an alien, for lack of a better term. Something other than you is coming into contact with you. Well, it's so forceful, and at the same time that you've got this presence just like coming at you, well, you're losing control of your bodily functions. I mean, what DMT does when you have a breakthrough is you pass out. And usually, if you try to fight passing out, it's futile, because you are going to go unconscious no matter what. But if you're getting knocked unconscious, you're losing your ability to move your hands, to open your eyes, to even consciously take a breath. Well, it can feel as though the DMT molecule is a foreign entity possessing your body. If you are terrified of movies like The Exorcist, and now there's like a million Exorcists. The Exorcist of Emily Rose, The Exorcism of the Camera Tripod. Bad, awful joke. Why would my camera tripod be possessed? Only looked like that when we were on acid. Well, if that kind of shit scares you, then you should definitely avoid DMT, because it is going to possess your soul. Silly, stupid jokes aside, it's not a fun feeling, losing control of yourself. It's another reason why people fight the effects, because they don't want to be possessed. They're like, oh no, if I don't fight this, I'm getting taken over by demonic presence. I can't even spec anymore. Now, the fourth reason why DMT trips often become terrifying is because as you're about to be taken to this other world, as you're getting possessed, as the universe is raping you and the demons are jumping in and out of your body all at once in this crazy orchestrated performance that almost feels orgasmic, but at the same time, you can't accept it. Well, as all that crazy ass shit is going on, you probably just finished exhaling a very deep breath of burnt mothball tasted solventy crap. And that alone can make you feel like you need to gasp for air, especially if you held it for like 10 seconds. Like just holding your breath normally for 10 seconds will make you feel like you need to take a big breath. But if as you're exhaling this last breath and you're naturally like out of breath feeling, well, if at that moment you've got this crazy show going on that's tearing you out of this place, baby, well, it's only natural that you're going to feel like you can't breathe. And in fact, this was the very first frightening effect that I started getting. You're just like, oh man, it's freaky. And if you hold on to that feeling of not being able to breathe, it's going to lead you to trying to hold on to your consciousness and this body, and you're gonna end up having a frightening trip. Now, as I said, there's something that all of these bad experiences have in common, and they all have to do with not fully surrendering to the experience and just letting it have its way with you. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm talking about this crazy sexual act, but it almost feels like at times that's what DMT is. You have to know before you get on the ride that it's going to feel intrusive. It's going to poke and not even just look around, just tear you open in ways that you didn't think was possible for a fucking drug to do. The kind of people who have nothing positive and blissful experiences are the ones who agree before going into it that whatever happens, happens, and they're just along for the ride. It's that observer mindset. They teach you this when you meditate, to instead of attaching yourself to your thoughts, to just observe them from a distance. Now, it's easier to do that when meditating than when smoking DMT. That really is quite the challenge, I'm not going to lie. But if you do have practice with it and you have experience with psychedelics, and at a certain dose, they're all going to make you feel like they're taking you over and you're dying. It's called the ego death experience. Well, if you do have some experience with those types of effects, then DMT is going to be a lot easier for you to navigate. You're less likely to get stuck in these pitfalls that will result in bad trips. And the funny thing is, even if you fight letting go, say you smoked enough, the problem really all arises when you don't smoke enough. Because if you smoke just barely enough where if you were to let go, you might get there, but it's enough that you feel like you could hold on, well, at that point, you're kind of opening the door for a bad experience. Because if you can hold on, when you realize that it's in your nature to want to survive and it makes you feel like you're being eradicated, well, don't give yourself the bloody option to hold on. It makes perfect sense to me. Sounds totally logical. Smoke enough. I mean, if you're going to do this, so that even if you try, you are going to get ripped out of this universe and thrown into the mixing bowl of wherever the hell this place comes from, and you're going to be baked into that cake of the next dimension. You have got to be willing and ready for that. If you want to guarantee, I wanted to say a smooth ride, but if you wanted to guarantee that you're going to at least get to your destination, which in reality might not necessarily be what you think it is. A lot of people out there talk about how these experiences showed them that there's so much more than just a human, just this meat sack holding these intestines and organs inside. Well, these experiences can make you feel like you really are something magical, man. That your life up to that moment was all experienced for a reason, a deep, meaningful reason. And now you're going to, there's something in my eye. Now you're going to live the life that you've been running from because you've just got this newfound joy, almost this childlike curiosity or excitement for things that you never used to even really think twice about. It really can give you a renewed look on your place in this world and everything that you thought was important in life, everything you thought you knew. It's like there's this whiteboard that just has everything that you've always known, that you've solidified over the years as facts, and then the DMT gods just come with this napkin, they just blow their nose on it, they go, and they take this disgusting snot rag and wipe off all of your dreams and all of your known facts, and then you're looking at it like, whoa, I didn't know you could just wipe it all away that easily. And then the snot transmutates into fractals that suck you in with these long tendrils that just feel like they're attaching to your soul, changing the frequency of your brain to tune into something that you could never even access before. And before you know it, you're getting tugged through these dimensions of snot enlightenment. It's not enlightenment. Oh God, can I just be serious for one video? I'm just trying to make a serious video here, man. Why you gotta make everything a joke? Why? Because life is a joke. Why are you going to take something that's so serious seriously? Wait a second. Life is serious? I thought you said life was a joke. You could die at any time. That's serious, man. Something that serious must be taken in a joking way. Otherwise, what's the damn point? Okay, yeah, you know what? I get your logic. That logic makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's so serious. You have to add some humor to it to lighten things up. Totally, yeah. No, I get that. Why didn't you just phrase it that way? Why do you have to make everything so complex like a fucking mystery? Who are you talking to, man? I'm you. Why do you do that? Shit. Good question. All right. Anyway. Anyway, guys, this video has been very much so in line with absolutely everything that I've done lately, to the point where I kind of lost the focus somewhere in there, and we've just been going off the rails, baby. That's how my life feels lately. Now, some of you might ask why one would want to smoke DMT, given the very real potential for terror that I hope I've explained to you guys right now. Well, the reason is it's two sides of the same coin. Something that has such potential to change your life and to make you see this reality as something completely new. Well, of course it's going to have such potential for danger. It comes with the territory. You don't get up without down. Like, come on, man. Anything that has that much potential for good is going to naturally have a lot of danger involved. So much danger. Red, yellow signs everywhere. Danger, danger, keep out. And it's going to be a challenge. This is what I don't understand about psychedelics. A lot of people who are so misinformed, and they think that psychedelics are just like every other drug where it's just fun. It's a recreational experience. Like, yeah, man, why you trip so much? Why do you got to see so many colors? It's not about the colors. Just stop, man. Like, just look at a fucking kaleidoscope. You don't need to trip to see colors. Like, people, they don't get it. They think that it's just about this feeling and seeing pretty lights glowing and shit. They have no idea what they're talking about. And yeah, in some, basic doses, and for people with no offense, a basic brain, for them, that might be all that they will experience. But you got to keep in mind that these are tools, and they're not normal tools that you use. These are tools that use you, and they can only use what they're given. If you're a empty fucking meat sack, you got really nothing going on, you never question anything, you've never really had an original thought in your life, well, you are probably not going to get much out of the psychedelic experience because you're not bringing much to the table. But if you come in with big questions, a thirst for knowledge, a yearning to figure out your life and your place in this dimension, well, what psychedelics are going to show you goes beyond anything that I can explain in this video, because if I could explain it, then there'd be no fucking point in tripping, would there? There's a reason why these experiences are so profound. They go beyond words. They go beyond language. Language is a man-made thing. This is learned. Psychedelics almost grant the user a mystical knowledge that would have been near impossible to gain had they not gone through the trials and tribulations, trivials, trivial law, I can't speak, of the trip. Like, fuck, man. But at the end of the day, even though there's so much potential for good, there's potential for harm. These experiences aren't for everybody. They're never going to be for everybody. And there's a lot of people that if they had to make a choice between, say, cracking it up or smoking the D, they would take the crack. They'd never even consider the D. It's always going to be the crack for them because they're just not ready for such a mind-bending, unpredictable experience. They're never going to let go. They're going to fight to the bitter end. And I mean, props to them. They are evolutionarily doing the right thing, man. But if you can learn to let the experience take you by the hand and show you what it wants to show you, you might just find that your life is never the same again. If it wasn't for DMT, none of this would exist. It was thanks to a DMT experience where I got the message that I needed to start making videos like this. So I really owe a lot to these experiences. It really changed my life. It saved my life. So the potential for good is there, but there's somebody at the door now. I will answer the door. Anyway, this video got a little strange. It went in some directions that I wasn't really intending for it to go in. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that big thumbs up button, leave this video a like, comment below if you can relate to any of this crazy stuff that I'm talking about, and let me know if you'd like some more just off-the-cuff videos like this. These are a lot of fun for me to make. They don't really have much direction. And yeah, if you liked it, let me know. Fun fact. We can get Psyched Substance videos shared more, and we can help the channel grow by just leaving comments. I had no idea that... No, cut this out. Don't even say that. And if you support what I'm doing here, check out our Patreon page. You guys are amazing. You're the reason why I'm even able to continue with this content to begin with. Huge thank you to everyone on Patreon. You guys have my heart. I love you guys. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Got some wicked stuff planned. And I am going to wrap this up before I talk forever. I will see you guys all in the next video. Maybe next I'll talk about what bad LSD trips feel like, even though I've covered that a lot. Bad mushroom trips. There's a better one. Bad mushroom trips.